Let's talk real quick. Every time I see one of the creators or one of the creatives, shall I say, post about good times, they are fighting for their lives in the comment section. Hi, Shannan E. Johnson here, CEO of The Professional Pen, where we develop screenwriters from idea to pitch. Need help in your screenplay? Go to www.theprofessionalpen.com. I can tell that this is a passion project for them. I can tell that they want people to give it a chance because they are fighting for their lives in the comment section for free. You hear what I'm saying? Like, there is no one out here paying them to promote, paying them to go back and forth in the comments. From their point of view, they probably don't see it as going back and forth or fighting for their lives. They are just asking what they think is the obvious or trying to understand other people's perspectives, etc. But that's what it looks like. But here's the thing. People are upset, not because they're having selective outrage, right? Which is a lot of what happens in the comment section from the creatives' point of view. Is like, this is selective outrage. Nobody felt like this about Bebe's Kids or Boondocks or South Park, etc. We don't know what people thought. Social media wasn't out at that time. I can promise you there were probably a group of people who also felt something similar, right, about those shows. And we can't act like there's not a space for satire, that there's not a space to animate something so that you can speak about messages in an absurd way, right? So that you can stretch things to the limit just to make a point. Those things exist and they should exist. I think what people are missing is that the outrage is coming from the fact that it is attached to the Good Times name. And people have a visceral, emotional attachment to the original content, right? So in the comments where the creatives are fighting for their lives, they're often saying, this is not the same Evans Family. You have to be able to look at it differently. Don't look at it as if it's the original Good Times, but it's called Good Times. So this is where trying to create content from established IP can go bad, can go wrong, right? And I'm not going to pretend as someone who is a former television executive, as someone who is a screenwriter right now and a scripts consultant right now, that they probably wouldn't have been able to get this made had they not attached a name to it. You know what I'm saying? There's truth on that side as well. So I totally get it. You want to take some IP because that's the way that the studio is not going to feel like it's as big of a risk and they'll jump on board with you, right? But in this particular case, I think it backfired. I think had it just been a show exactly how it is with a totally different name, several things would have happened. One, the global majority wouldn't even know it exists, which is good and bad, right? Bad because now you don't reach a large amount of people, but good because then you reach the people you're supposed to reach, the people who enjoy satire. Not everybody watched Boondocks. Not everybody enjoyed Bebe's Kids. Not everybody watched Beavis and Butthead. You know what I'm saying? They found their audience. And I think this show is probably finding its audience as well, but missing out on some people who could have been their audience because the knee-jerk reaction is this is disrespectful to Good Times. Sure, there are still going to be people, Black people, who find it disrespectful to Black people because some people just get tired of seeing the same stories over and over. They don't care what kind of message comes from it. Like, that's just the truth, right? But putting those groups of people to the side, you would have found the people who were just interested in watching an animated version of Black life be satirical and be absurd. Here's my suggestion. Next season, call it something else. Because by the end of the year, none of us will be thinking about it. Nobody will care. Half of this negativity, it'll just be gone. It will then be a new show. Yes. So Netflix will have to be open to it. It's not like it's never happened before. We heard all the time how Disney would, the next season, just call it something else. Not, maybe it wasn't Disney. It could have been Nickelodeon or somebody, but just call it something else and call them somebody else. They don't have to be the Evans. You know what I'm saying? They can be the same characters with different names on a different show. And you might be able to find your core group of people. With that being said, I'm still not going to watch the show. It's not for me. It wasn't made for me. I didn't really watch Boondocks. Do I know what it is? Yes. Have I seen a couple of episodes? Sure. Was I tuning in every week right on time to watch it? No, it's just not my thing. Same thing for South Park. I might have watched Beavis and Butthead a little bit more because I was a teenager at that time. And so you think anything is cool at that age, right? But yeah, so for those of you who have watched it, what are your thoughts? For those of you who haven't, would you have watched it if it wasn't connected to Good Times? And this is for the people who like that kind of stuff. Again, if you don't like that kind of stuff, then we're not talking to you anyway, because you wouldn't be the audience anyway, like me, right? But for those of you who really like that kind of stuff, would you have watched it had it not been attached to Good Times? Or is it for you just, look, it's 2024 and we just don't want to see this kind of stuff anymore, even if it does have a good message? Let's talk about it. And until then, happy writing.
The professional pen.